Project Simplified Bible, the entire Bible narrated in an easy and objective way so that everyone can understand. Edition Abraão Marques. Genesis chapter 31.
Jacob heard that Laban's sons were commenting,
Jacob is taking everything that belongs to our father and getting rich at expense.
Jacob also noticed that Laban was not as friendly as before. Then the Lord said to Jacob,
Go back to the land of your fathers, where your relatives are. I will be with you.
Jacob called Rachel and Leah to the field where he was with his sheep and goats. When they arrived, he said,
I have noticed that your father is no longer as friendly towards me, but the God of my father has been with me. You know that I have worked hard for your father, but he has deceived me and changed my wages 10 times. However, God did not allow him to harm me. When he said that the speckled goats would be my wages, all the flocks bore speckled young. When he said that the striped ones would be my payment, all the flocks bore striped young. God has taken away your father's herds and given them to me. One day, during the mating season of the animals, I had a dream. In the dream, I saw that the male goats mating with the flock were streaked, speckled, and spotted. Then the angel of God called to me in the dream, and I responded, Here I am. And he said,
Look, all the goats that are mating are striped, speckled, and spotted. I did this because I saw what Laban is doing to you. I am the God who appeared to you at Bethel, where you dedicated a stone to me and made a vow. Now, leave this land and return to where you were born.
Rachel and Leah replied,
We have nothing to inherit from our father. He treats us like foreigners, sold us, and spent the money. All the wealth that God took from our father is ours and our children's. Do everything that God has commanded you.
Jacob prepared to return to Canaan, where Isaac, his father, lived. He put his children and wives on camels, gathered all his belongings, and set out, taking all the flocks he had acquired in Mesopotamia. While Laban was away shearing his sheep, Rachel stole her father's household gods. Jacob fled with everything he had without telling Laban, crossed the Euphrates River, and headed toward the hill country of Gilead. 3 days later, Laban learned of Jacob's escape. He gathered his relatives and pursued Jacob for 7 days, catching up with him in the hill country of Gilead. That night, God appeared to Laban in a dream and said,
Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad.
When Laban caught up with Jacob, he said,
Why did you deceive me and carry off my daughters like captives of war? Why did you run off secretly and deceive me? I would have sent you away with joy and singing, to the music of tambourines and harps. You didn't even let me kiss my grandchildren and my daughters goodbye. What you have done is foolish. I have the power to harm you, but last night the God of your father said to me, Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. I understand that you left because you longed to return to your father's house. But why did you steal my gods?
Then Jacob answered Laban,
I was afraid that you would take your daughters away from me by force. But if you find anyone here who has your gods, that person shall be put to death. Our relatives are witnesses. Search for whatever belongs to you and take it.
Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen the images. Laban searched through Jacob's tent, Leah's tent, and the tents of the 2 female servants, but he did not find the images. When he entered Rachel's tent, she had hidden the images inside the camel saddlebag and was sitting on them. Rachel said,
I'm sorry, Father, I can't get up for you. I'm on my period.
Laban searched, but he did not find the images. Jacob became angry and said to Laban,
What is my crime? What sin have I committed that you hunt me down? Now that you have searched through all my goods, what have you found that belongs to your household? Put it here in front of your relatives and mine, and let them judge between the 2 of us. I have worked for you for 20 years now. Your sheep and goats have not miscarried, nor have I eaten rams from your flocks. I did not bring you animals torn by wild beasts. I bore the loss myself, and you demanded payment from me for whatever was stolen by day or night. This was my situation. The heat consumed me in the daytime and the cold at night, and sleep fled from my eyes. It was like this for the 20 years I was in your household. I worked for you 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your flocks, and you changed my wages 10 times. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had not been with me, you would surely have sent me away empty-handed. But God has seen my hardship and the toil of my hands, and last night he rebuked you.
These daughters of mine, and the children they have borne, are my daughters, and everything you see is mine. But how can I deny these daughters and the children they have borne? Come now, let us make a covenant, you and I, and let it serve as a witness between us.
Jacob took a stone and set it up as a pillar. Then he told his relatives to gather stones, and they made a mound. Laban called it Jegar-Sahadutha, but Jacob called it Galeed. Laban said,
May the Lord watch between you and me when we are absent from each other. If you mistreat my daughters, or if you take any wives besides my daughters, even though no one is with us, remember that God is a witness between you and me.
Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. He offered a sacrifice there on the mountain and invited his relatives to a meal. They ate and spent the night there. Early the next morning, Laban kissed his daughters and grandchildren, blessed them, and returned to his homeland.